Welcome back, everyone, to an emergency podcast here on the Hardwood Convos. I'm Dawson Livingston, joined by Brock Bierman, Hunter Rose. We all are reacting to the crazy news that came out just under 24 hours ago. We all thought it was a fake tweet at first, and it's official. Luka Dončić is being traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm still trying to fathom, I think all of us are, how this trade went down, why this trade went down, but fellas, how are we feeling before we take a deep dive in this trade?
I hate basketball.
Yeah.
I hate the Lakers, man. This is just why I hate the Lakers so much.
He's not joined us, but I did hear from Chase, for anyone wondering. I informed him that no matter what, I will never, ever feel bad for a Lakers fan ever again. I don't want to see that stupid, Jordan Hill was the starting center for our team. Like, look at where we came. No. You don't get to have Kobe Bryant and then LeBron James and now Luka Dončić and expect any sympathy from anybody in the entire world ever again. While also, just having the $3 billion company that is just the LA Dodgers at this point, just printing out money to pay everybody and get whoever they want. No. We need to take a stand, all right? This is stupid. This is just stupid.
I don't know how they got to this point. And I was already having a terrible weekend. And then this just had to happen. So I wish it was Luka Garza. But we'll I guess two of the biggest crybabies are now on the same team in LA.
Dude, it's nuts. I would say it's definitely the biggest where you exactly where you were at trade. Like, you saw your phone, you saw the notification, it was like, oh bleep, this trade's actually going down. I actually made a list of like the top 5, like, I'll say oh bleep trades in sports that I've been a part of that like have happened, and you knew exactly where you were. I like Paul George to the Clippers, made that list. Like, I saw the tweet that like 1 a.m, and that was like a crazy trade at the time. I threw Mookie Betts to the Dodgers when he got traded from the Red Sox. Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins. That one came out of nowhere. Even like Durant to the Suns, but this one trumps any move that those 4 were. It's just extremely confusing based on like who LA's receiving versus who Dallas is receiving. I mean, Luka's a 25-year-old All-NBA MVP caliber player, not even in his prime, and Dallas decides, you know what, we're tired of your antics and we're going to just ship you to the Lakers, where the Lakers, I don't know how they do it, but they found their next face the franchise for 10 years. It's extremely frustrating for other NBA fans that he wasn't even offered to any other team but the Lakers. It's kind of baffling at this point.
No love for the Brooklyn Nets trade?
The Harden one?
No.
Oh, Garnett and Pierce?
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge basketball fan to that point. I just put the ones that I was like, I saw the notification.
I thought I was going to be depressed for decades, and then like 2 years later, I was like, oh, Danny Ainge there was a reason Danny Ainge made that trade, which, by the way, Danny Ainge has to be involved in every big NBA trade one way or another.
It's ridiculous.
Him being the GM of the Jazz.
Traded Donovan Mitchell away to the Cavs, traded Rudy Gobert to the T-Wolves, orchestrated a D-Lo trade to the Lakers the first time, and now just somehow, some way gets 2 free second-round picks out of this. I don't even know what the Jazz ended up giving up in this trade, but it's ridiculous at this point.
He's like, hey, if you're going to make a big trade, you got to let me know. I have to be involved some way, shape, or form.
It's baffling. There by so many different angles, like from the Lakers' point, from the Mavericks' point, from Luka's point, and from AD's point, really. It's just, I didn't even know that this was in the realm of possibilities. And it makes you wonder if Luka would have hit the open market, what he would have truly demanded, like return wise.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Davis is a borderline top 10, for sure, top 15 player in the league, but he's 31. He's on the
MVP candidate.
Yeah, according to Chase, MVP candidate. But Luka's a guy I think we all can agree is a top 3 NBA player in the league. I don't care how you put it. Yeah, I think you put Jokic, Giannis, and then either Luka or Shea. I won't argue either way. But the fact that he was able to be traded, and it seems like no one in the NBA knew for weeks that this was going on, is just kind of insane to me at this point.
It's just like every factor imaginable, like that like the more, I think everyone's agreed, like the more time has passed, like it hasn't settled anymore, like it's happened in the first place. I don't think anybody will until we actually see Luka on the floor, but like I just don't understand. I genuinely, like, given everything that the Mavericks have, that Luka's done with the Mavericks and for the Mavericks, and to just be like, you know what, we could go to the finals without it. We could have made it without Luka. No, you can't just do that. There's no way. I just don't. I don't know. Bobby Portis is still on my team. That's what I'm most upset about in this whole situation, is that Bobby Portis still plays for the Milwaukee Bucks, and then this guy's a Laker.
I mean, are we not going to talk about the bigger story about this trade? Markieff Morris is
back with the Lakers.
The return of the king.
The real reason the Lakers were good back in those days, like those early LeBron era teams. Yeah.
Yes.
Which by the way, I know LeBron wasn't involved, but I do think it's kind of funny when like the team starts struggling, LeBron always usually finds a way to get rid of his like favorite asset. And then he usually leaves right after that. So Laker fans, enjoy LeBron while you have him.
LeBron for one more year.
I swear, if he goes to Cleveland, I'm gonna just jump off of my house.
The Cavs, I think they want to win something without LeBron. But as a fan, dude, come back, LeBron. Come back home. Play with Donovan, Darius.
You can make that assumption with the Cavs, but there's one thing that I've always known, and literally any team, but I think probably Boston would openly give LeBron whatever he wants to come play for them.
Right.
But I guess we should so Luka, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris go to the Lakers. Anthony Davis, Max Crispy, and a Lakers first round pick to the Mavericks. And then the Jazz, have to be involved because Danny Ainge said so.
Yeah, why not?
Was it 2 second-round picks and
to go? The real reason the trade happened. Everybody knows.
Oh my gosh, dude! This is so dumb.
The NBA wants Celtics Lakers back in the 2020s so bad that they.
I don't want it anymore.
No, the NBA does, dude.
They're
like, ratings are down. The only thing that can get us back is Lakers Celtics 40 years after the fact.
I still don't. Here's the problem, though. Okay. Where do you guys want to start on this? Do you want to start with the Luka thing or the Anthony Davis part of this trade?
I'd say the Luka part.
The Luka part, yeah.
Okay.
That's the more pressing.
We can stretch out on it a little bit.
I don't know, and maybe I'm just blind, and maybe I just don't know ball, which, I mean, there's a very, very good possibility that's the case, because I kind of just say things, and if it happens, good for me, and if it doesn't, whatever. I don't think Luka and LeBron have, like, mesh well together stylistically.
I agree.
And so, like, I don't really know where they're expecting this to go. Now, what would make them really dangerous if they make LeBron an off-ball type of guy and let Luka facilitate the offense? That's what's going to take this team over the top, and that's when the Lakers could become really dangerous. Because I don't really think Luka's a catch-and-shoot guy. He needs to create his own shots. I trust LeBron more as a catch-and-shoot guy than I do Luka at this point. And that's saying something just because I don't think LeBron's necessarily a huge catch-and-shoot guy either. But, like, he's able to set screens, cuts the basket better than most players, and he's 40 years old. So if they do something like that, by all means, the Lakers could be a very competitive team. But stylistically, it's an interesting pairing because they don't look the same when you're watching them, because Luka's very slow and methodical with how he moves the ball and how he runs the offense. LeBron's more physical, attack the basket, try to get the best shot possible for him or his teammates. So we'll see. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on this? What the Lakers' offense is going to look like specifically? We're not even going to talk about what the defense is going to look like.
No. It's they're going to be the best. I'll just say this. I think statistic wise, like from now until the end of the season, they're going to be a top 5 offense. I don't even think that's a question. They just have too many good shooters now. And when you have two great minds with LeBron and Luka, I just think the offense is just going to be super easy for him. But now it's like your starting center is Jackson Hayes. And you were already thin at that front court area in the 4 and the 5 man. And I would assume they make a trade for a center this at some point this week, whether it's, I don't even know. I've seen some couple names thrown around like Robert Williams on the Blazers, but that's another one where it's like he's had his health concerns over the last few years, so that one could be kind of a questionable move. Jakob Poeltl, Jonas Valanciunas, so just like some other guys that could potentially be centers for the Lakers, but that this defense is going to be bottom 10, maybe bottom 5 in the league. They just don't have anyone that can really guard. I mean, when you're trotting out lineups right now of LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves, and Dalton Connect, like, that's got to be one of the worst defensive lineups in the league. But when you look at it offensively, maybe it'll even out for the Lakers. But I do think this move it's not even about this year. I think the Lakers took a little bit of a step back this year. I don't even think they care about that at this point. They have found their next franchise cornerstone. They're able to kind of just like close the book on the LeBron era, if that makes sense. I know he's still on the team, but the Lakers have celebrated everything that he's done for that city, won a championship in 2020, but now it's like, assuming Luka signs an extension this summer, which he probably will with the Lakers, they have Luka on the team for the next 5, 6, 7, maybe 7 year plus. So I think this move shows it's more of a future move. And when you get offered a 25-year-old MVP candidate in his prime, you got to take that deal every day if you're the Lakers.
I can recall, I believe it was 2 weeks ago at this point, each and every one of us agreed. Talked because we have to talk about the Lakers, right? It's the Lakers, right? Sure. We all agreed. None of us knew, the season for the Lakers kind of wraps. It's not like they were terrible. I think right now they're sitting at the 5 seed. At the time, I think they were the 6 seed. But just, things were quiet. Things were really quiet in LA, and given the competition, like, nobody knows, and we were all very confused on like what's next. How dumb, how stupid. I just don't understand. Like all of a sudden now you get. They literally, like, this isn't a matter of like, oh, when you get lemons, you make lemonade. No, they got the whole friggin' banquet. They got the whole, like, the little, like, soda stream. No, not the soda stream. The little Coca-Cola machine where you can pick, like, 50 gajillion different drinks. They got that. And they're just like, take what you want. If you want Luka, take Luka. They didn't have to do anything. And it's just so stupid. It's so dumb.
Are the Mavericks, like, one of the dumbest franchises in the NBA right now? Because two teams that a lot of people refuse to work with trade-wise because they don't want them to compete for championships are the Lakers and the Celtics. I truly believe that. A lot of teams don't want to help them out. And they have now given Porzingis to the Celtics for little to nothing. Grant Williams, who's not even on the roster anymore. And now they've given the Lakers Luka. Okay, first off, I saw a lot of people, and I mentioned this to you too before the show, that I saw a lot of people blaming Mark Cuban for this. For those that don't know, Mark Cuban isn't a majority owner in the Dallas Mavericks anymore. I think he's kind of just more of a face now. He's closer to the Spike Lee than he is actually a majority owner anymore in terms of where he's at in the franchise's ranks. And Spike Lee, I don't think even owns a penny of the Knicks. So, But anyways, the Mavericks have made some terrible decisions. Jalen Brunson's no longer there. Luka is now gone with the Lakers. Porzingis just won a championship with the Celtics. They had, in my opinion, a really good big three that they could have built off of. And I mean, it seemed like Jalen Brunson was going to leave one way or another, at least from my memory. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But this could have all been prevented if Jalen Brunson would have re-signed with the Mavericks.
It's kind of insane where their fall off has been since they had like all those players. I will say this: Jalen Brunson was not going to become the player he is right now if he would have stayed on the Mavs. Like, he wasn't going to be a perennial like all-star, all-NBA caliber player. And I think there was real friction between Porzingis and Luka. Like, I just don't think they played well together. They didn't really care for each other. But you are right, where it's like you're letting talent walk out of your door, and teams would dream of taking a guy like Luka Dončić and having him on their team for 6-7 years. And to just not like out of the blue, because apparently this has been in the works for weeks from some of the articles and reports that I've seen, which is crazy to me. But for this to just kind of be out of nowhere, I mean, the Mavericks must know something more than we do as the general public when it comes to this. Maybe Luka's got bigger issues than we all realize, but even then, you don't trade a top 3 guy in the NBA for 60 cents on the dollar. Because if he would have went to open market again, I truly believe it would have been the largest haul in NBA history. Think of Kevin Durant's package when he got traded from Brooklyn to Phoenix and times it by 2. Like, I truly believe the package that the Mavericks could have gotten for a guy like Luka would have broken the internet. But it's crazy practice for the Mavericks at this point.
Yeah. And it's so weird because like the star, like, you think 2 years ago, like pre-Wemby draft, like the stars aligned so perfectly for them to end up in this situation. All like anybody talked about during, their run in the finals was like, oh man, like they perfectly, like, even though they traded for Kyrie and then they did worse, it was like, oh, what's going on? They like perfectly tanked to be able to get the player to get Derek Lively, put them in the position they were in, traded, had some great trades, getting PJ Washington, end up losing, in the finals. That's tough. But like, then you make moves. And they bring in Klay Thompson. They bring in Najee Martin. They bring in these guys who are going to answer the problems that they directly had in the finals. And by the way, the problem was not Luka. It was shooting anybody not named Luka. And then to just be like, oh, well, guess we'll win without him. And then like Doss mentioned, like to not go to open, like you didn't even have to trade him. You could just be like, yeah, what can we get for this guy? And just see just people piling on, just all right. Well, they're saying they'll give you that. We'll give you this, and like no, and then
they didn't take any other calls. That's the thing.
It's insane.
I just don't understand.
Think about like, obviously Oklahoma City has assets on assets on assets. Like all the draft picks they have, all the young players they have. When I even think of a team like San Antonio within Texas. Could you imagine if imagine pairing Wemby and Luka? San Antonio could have thrown the kitchen sink at Dallas and probably had a better offer than what the Lakers gave them. And for this to just kind of go like a handshake deal for a few days and then it finally broke last night, it's crazy to me. We're all still trying to wrap our heads around this. It's insane at this point.
And like the reasons they give too, like that, like supposedly give at least, where it's like, oh, defense wins championships. Well, sure, man, cool.
The Celtics were like the most. They shot like the most threes last year.
Nope.
I think even the year before that, the two teams in the finals were teams shooting a lot of like. If you look at the teams that are winning the championship, it's not defense, it's offense right now.
Mm-hmm. And then they're like, oh, then reportedly, oh, the conditioning, it's a worrisome. I don't care if someone's tubby. If they're dropping 70 in a game, they can eat all they want. They can do whatever they want. I could care less. I really could not care less. It's like, it'd be one thing, like Zion Williamson, for example. The weight has been a concern and is quite, supposedly like actually impacted like his injuries and stuff, and what's happened there. I think when Luka got hurt, it just was a matter of, like really unfortunate. Like, so like, you can't just say, oh, this is a problem, and then also make the finals the year before. That's not how conditioning problems work. It just isn't. It just isn't.
Who's the GM for the Mavericks?
Nico Harrison.
Baltimore.
He'll be he'll be fired before next season.
If they don't at least get to the finals, I agree. I think his job's gone.
Because that's there's a going all in move and having it fail and being able to keep your job. This is going all in, backing up what you just did,
going all in
rid
and
of your
giving the deed
player
to your house.
Yeah, because like the thing, I'm trying to think of like a similar trade where like a star athlete, a franchise player is getting traded like that. But like most of the time, there are people that want to like be out by then. That's the thing. Luka never really made it known that he wanted to leave, and I don't think he wanted to.
I got a crazy comp. This might not even be remotely close, but hear me out on it. It's like if the Bengals decided all of a sudden, you know what? Joe Burrow. Hey, defense wins championships. We're sending you to Dallas, and we're going to get Micah Parsons, and we're going to get a pick because we think defense wins championships.
That's another thing. Like, Hunter, you sent this in our group chat last night when this happened. They got 1 first-round pick out of this.
It's not even going to be a good pick. Luka's still going to be on the team.
What
like
year is it?
And when you
2029.
And then you trade for a pick, and then say, "Oh, we're gonna win now."
They're trading for what? A high school freshman?
Something like that.
It's insane.
What are we doing, Dallas? You have a once in a generation player. Like everybody agrees that. You made the finals. Oh, and you mentioned Derek Lively, and this is not because I don't like him. I'm probably always going to be one of the biggest Derek Lively fans in the world. I'm selling my stock in terms of where he's going to be at potential-wise. Because you know why he was doing so good? It's because Luka was able to get him the ball. And maybe Kyrie might be able to do that. But I'm not a big fan of Anthony Davis and Derek Lively being out there at the same time. Because Anthony Davis isn't necessarily a three-point threat anymore. So then you're going to be crowding the lane with 2 post guys. The trade, the more and more I think about it, doesn't make any sense for Dallas in terms of what they were trying to achieve in this situation. I don't know if they were listening to our podcast early in the year when we had people, and I was guilty of it. I was more of just kind of trying to egg chase on, but saying that Anthony Davis should be an MVP candidate, which, by the way, Anthony Davis has had a really good season. You can't deny that. He's been able to stay relatively healthy and competing at an all-star level. But there's a reason that he had to be paired up with LeBron to win a championship. He's not a guy, and he's not a sub-A guy either. That's the problem with the Mavericks. Who is their guy? Is it Kyrie? Is it whose team is this? Because whether you like it or not, in the NBA, you have to have someone who is the center, the franchise player, whether they are actually given that term because they are good or given that term because there's no one else on the roster. That is always given out to at least someone. So they need to establish who that is. And I don't know who would it be. Who would you guys say is the franchise? Because giving Kyrie the keys is an interesting move. And Anthony Davis isn't someone I would choose to be an A guy for a championship.
I feel like it would
PJ Washington's team.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson.
Oh my gosh.
Jaden Hardy.
Yeah.
This is
Q
where we're
Grimes.
at. This is where we're at.
Old Dinwiddie. Maybe Dinwiddie's the face of the team.
There we go. Yeah.
There we go.
That's a big three right there. Klay, Dinwiddie, and Daniel Gafford.
Dude,
That's what they need.
Their lineup looks so goofy now. Because it's Kyrie, Klay, PJ, Anthony Davis, and Daniel Gafford. Not a bad lineup by any means. Like, but considering what they had 24 hours ago, it's a downgrade, a significant downgrade.
So we didn't mention this on the podcast. Jason Kidd didn't know about the trade. LeBron and Anthony Davis, at least from what we've been told. I think Anthony Davis didn't know about the trade. I'm going to bite my tongue on whether or not I believe LeBron not knowing anything about it.
No, yeah.
Just given history. Luka didn't know about it, and I believe that. Basically, no one knew about it except for the GMs, which the fact that, Dawson, you mentioned this has been going on for a while, credit to them for not getting this out. Because if this would have gotten out, I think it wouldn't have happened because other teams would have called and said and made those big packages. So I wonder if Pelinka was the one that initiated this and said, if this comes out, it's off the table.
I just want to picture this for a second because it sounds like this was a first offered to the Lakers earlier this week, like actually offered. And it sounds like the Lakers sat on the deal for like 2 or 3 days. Like they just didn't accept it. They're like, okay, we got to get back to you. The power that the balls that Rob Pelinka had to not throw in any other assets, not that second first round pick that they could have thrown in.
Dallas was the one that offered this.
Yes, it was Dallas that came to LA.
Yep.
Dude, and for Rob Pelinka to be like, nope, we're gonna keep Anthony Davis if you want anything else. We don't want to make this trade. And then Dallas, is it Dallas that caved in? Was it the Lakers that caved in? I think that's the fascinating storyline in this.
Oh my gosh, this is just,
it's insane. It's like an onion. There's more layers to the story when you keep peeling back. It gets crazier and crazier at this point.
And for the people that say that, oh, the NBA is dying, viewership doesn't matter,
nope, not
anymore. Well, not even just that, but this trade right here proved that people still at least pay attention to the NBA. Viewership on TV isn't the end-all be-all situation anymore as it once was 20 years ago when social media wasn't a thing. You can monetize different things in different ways now because of social media and other entertainment assets. And so this trade right here just proved, because it broke the internet last night. That's the only thing I've been seeing for the past 24 hours.
I saw like a financial stock news page tweet about it. What are they doing? If you have not only like fans of the NBA when seeing the tweet go, did Shams get hacked? But when you have NBA players who go,
do you see De'Aaron Fox?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I saw the top reply.
You saw the reply too,
buddy. You're next.
It's tough, but
dude.
Okay. Going back to this, I want to look at it from legacy wise. What is the legacy for both Luka Dončić and his time in Dallas, as well as Anthony Davis in LA? Is Anthony Davis one of the greats, all-time greats, or was he just a really good player that happened to be on the Lakers when they won a championship? I'm not saying he didn't contribute, because I can tell you right now, I'm already picturing that game winner that he had in the playoffs in the NBA bubble. And any NBA fan that watched that bubble knows exactly the game and the shot that I'm talking about right now. But he's not, I wouldn't consider him like Shaq level of Laker greats, obviously. So where would you guys put Luka and Anthony Davis up with their legacies in Dallas and LA?
I'm not gonna lie, I think Luka's legacy now is just like probably the biggest and will be the biggest what if just for Mavericks in general, where it's like you get to the finals when he's 24, 25, and then you get rid of him, and it's like, well, could he have been better than Dirk? Talent wise, that was all right. Like, no, like Dirk was great. I'm not saying that by any means in terms of like an actual legacy now we can say that they've both had with the Mavericks. Dirk's legacy is far better, but talent-wise, could have gone wherever at that point. And so I genuinely think it just is a what if now, where it's like he's going to be remembered as I don't think any Dallas fan would have wanted him to leave. Be shocked if there were. And if you're, supposedly a Dallas fan and the GM, you're not a Dallas fan. And for AD, like, I don't know. Well, be interested to hear Chase's take on this, but like, I think just because of how historic they are, like, he's probably one of the better players, I guess. I don't know if he's like all-time status, but
it's for Luka. I agree with Hunter. It's going to be the biggest what if for Dallas sports fans of all time, because again, he's 25. He's going to be 26 years old this month. Like, I don't believe he's even entered his prime. I don't think we've seen peak Luka, and I don't think we will for another year or two. I truly believe Luka has top 15 all-time player potential, maybe top 20. Like, I think this is a multiple-time MVP in our league in the next few years. Like, I think he's that good of a player. Like Hunter said, made the finals last year. Granted, not very many teams were going to challenge Boston last year. Boston was a great team. I don't think anyone thought the Mavs were going to win the finals that year. But to not at least run it back this year, I don't get what the rush of trading him a week before the deadline was. I don't see why you don't let this year finish out, then trade him in the offseason. I'm cool with that, because at least you give Luka one more year after the finals run to see what this team can really do. But to trade him 6 days or 5 days before the deadline, it's confusing to say the least. And then for Davis, it's like, yeah, he's one of the Laker greats, but he was only there, 5-6 years? Maybe, I think 5 for sure. Won a title, was a second best player in that finals run. Arguably, you could say the best in some of the series, but I don't think he'll be in the upper echelon of Lakers. That's reserved for like the Magic, Kobe, Kareem, Jerry West, like those guys, like the Mount Rushmore of Lakers. But I do think that he's got to be one of the 10 best Lakers to ever suit up for them, if that makes sense.
This is just Luka, obviously the what if situation. I don't need to touch on that just because you guys have kind of hit it well. Anthony Davis, for me, might be, in my opinion, one of the most underwhelming Laker players of all time. Just because I remember when that trade happened, how big of a deal it was, and automatically everybody assumed that they were going to be title contenders, which, I mean, they ended up winning a championship later on. So, excuse me, that shows you that he was a key asset for that, and you can't deny that he wasn't a key part of that championship team, because if he wasn't there, I don't think the Lakers would have even been invited to the bubble in terms of where they would have been standings-wise. But at the same time, I wouldn't put him on the same level as Pau Gasol. I wouldn't put him on the same level as even like some of the other like second, third options the Lakers have had over the years. James Worthy comes to mind. I wouldn't put him over him. I don't know. I guess, yeah, I wish Chase was here so we could get that perspective. And when we do the 515 Sports Pod this week, I think I might ask him for his opinion on that. But I would say he's one of the more underwhelming Laker players of all time, just in terms of the hype that came around that trade and everything. And as we go into this new era with Luka and the Lakers, full disclosure, two completely different players in different points of their careers when this trade happened. But you talked about like remembering where you were when a trade happened. Just knowing that sometimes these trades don't always go the way that you may think. I remember exactly where I was when Russell Westbrook got traded to the Lakers. I mean, I was literally with Hunter and Chase and a bunch of other guys when that trade went down. And I can tell you, I'm not speaking for him, but to give you an idea, Chase thought it was over. Like it was like they were the champs. The season might as well have never happened. And nothing happened with the Lakers. Again, Westbrook was on his kind of downward slope. he's had a good career and a good season this year.
He's
had an awesome season with the Nuggets. But like that just shows you, just because you're in LA doesn't always mean good things happen, especially when you're a star player. But I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this because I don't really know. This is recently the buyout market hasn't been all the as special as it used to be back in the early like 2010s. Because I remember in the 2010s, like 5 borderline all-star players, it seemed like, would always get bought out and then go to a team that they either could help or they're just trying to get extra cash and stay playing in terms for that next contract in the offseason. Trade-wise or buyout market, who do you guys think that the Lakers should go after center-wise? I have a hot take, and I think that they should go after a power forward right now, who I think you can get for literally pennies, because I think he'll be desperate to be on an NBA roster. And I think he might actually be in a good position because Luka and LeBron love being able to feed people, lob it up, whatever it may need. But please don't hate me when I say this, but I don't think that Ben Simmons would be a terrible idea to add to the Lakers roster.
That would definitely have to be a buyout. 100%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it sounds like he's going to get bought out.
Yeah,
at least from what I've read. But trading wise, I'm not sure who they can trade because I don't know what their assets are in terms of draft picks anymore. So,
I mean, it would help defensively for sure. Yeah, I think at least getting kind of his lick back, I guess it could help out because he wouldn't need the ball in his hands. You'd have the other 2 guys are already going to be demanding the ball. I mean, one that's more of a, you could definitely get him at least really cheap right now. Utah just waived him. They get Mo Bamba back. I don't know how much that actually helps him, but that's.
Could they still get Vucevic?
I think I don't know.
I don't know where their money sits at right now.
Yeah.
That's the only issue.
Because that's about.
I know Vucevic has
right
one of the worst contracts in the NBA right now.
At least, yeah.
If this was 2016, I know Luka wasn't around that time, but Boogie Cousins would automatically be everywhere just because I swear, anytime the trade deadline or the buyout market happened, Boogie Cousins was involved all the time. And now there's no decent centers that get involved, it seems like, anymore.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, I don't know any middle to older range players that would be getting cut or traded in the next couple days.
Yeah.
So
I always feel like the name that always gets thrown around in every trade ever, but I just don't know right now with how they've been playing. But Miles Turner's always, I swear, a trade rumor.
Yeah.
But with the Pacers actually being, actually kind of good.
Apparently.
I don't know why they would I don't think anyone would see Luka getting traded. So I guess I don't know maybe Wembanyama will end up on the Lakers. Who knows? Money wise, that works out perfect. But
if that happens, the NBA is more scripted than the NFL is at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like the names I've been hearing the most definitely are Miles Turner. Ben Simmons, I did not hear that, but that wouldn't be a bad idea by any means. Maybe I think you brought up Robert Williams earlier. I know he's been in trade rumors for just a while now, but that's definitely a lob kind of guy. So
the Lakers, they have tradable salaries. It looks like Maxi Kleber was making $11 million, who they just acquired from the Mavs. So that's a player that you can move as an expiring. No, not expiring, but you're a player you're able to move for salary. Gabe Vincent's another one where he's on the books for $11 million. Jared Vanderbilt, who I know the Lakers have been trying to get back from injuries, from back and forth, is another one that's around the $10 million mark. Another name that I instantly thought of, just because I think this team is ready to sell a lot of their players and ready to move on. Nick Claxton from the Nets. Perfect lob threat, can play defense for the Nets. I think could be really good for the Lakers.
Getting rid of literally every asset. So
right, if you're the Nets, you might as well, if you're gonna participate in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes, you might as well get your best chance out there and trade all your good players. And a guy like Nick Claxton, could potentially do it. I don't know what his market is. Granted, Luka's market's AD, a 31-year-old superstar, and one pick. So I don't think any of us know who's going to get traded or what they're going to get traded for. But the Lakers, they are flexible in some of their moves. Again, they have some tradable contracts. I think they have one more first round pick they can trade outright without giving up a swap. So yeah, they're still sitting in a good spot. And again, I think this move makes them a little worse this year. I won't lie, but I think this sets you up down the road 5, 6, 7 years to come.
What are with teams that like have really good seasons, especially some of the teams that don't have many championships or championships
Minnesota.
at all? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Making dumb trades that end up ruining what they've been trying to build. And I don't know. It's just annoying. Do you guys have any final comments that you want to say on this one? It's going to be a little shorter of an episode. Real quick, we'll be back on. I'm assuming we're going to try to do an episode on Thursday night to recap the trade deadline. Also, talk a little bit about the All-Star selections and snubs. But anything Luka, Anthony Davis related?
I have nothing on that front. I think we've pretty much hit everything. I will say this was already going to be one of the more exciting trade deadlines without this move. Like, there's a lot of big name players that are probably going to be on the move. Jimmy Butler comes to
the Bucks.
Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine, De'Aaron Fox. Like, there's already been a bunch of players' names that have been involved in trade rumors over the last few weeks. I know Hunter's shaking his head. I don't think Beal's going to the Bucks for sure. Fox.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, that's. But
Chill.
I think by Thursday we're going to have 3 or 4 more pretty big trades that are going to shake the forefront of the league.
Can we go to baseball salary stuff? No caps. Just
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
That's the only reason.
Boston would have
being.
everybody by the end of the week.
Sick human being. Twisted.
Evil. Evil.
Disgusting.
Celtics and Lakers would have literally everybody by the end of the week.
Dude, don't even.
You
don't
know
even
you
speak.
wish you had LeBron when you're alone and by yourself, and that just
No.
confirmed it. That just confirmed it.
Oh man.
No, I do not wish to have LeBron on my team. By the way, shout out the Celtics for being literally Philadelphia's Super Bowl every freaking time they play each other.
Are they beating them right now?
Oh yeah, no, they're not just beating them; they're beating them. Tyrese Maxey, I want to know his
Oh
stat
man.
just against Boston. Like, just against Boston. I swear, all he does is just go off against them.
Hey, Cavs put the BTA to the Mavs today with no one
Congrats.
playing.
You didn't have Kyrie
40,
or Anthony Davis
43
going up
points,
against
41 points, whatever it was.
I
43
can't wait
points.
for you guys to pull an Atlanta Hawks in the playoffs.
It's not. We had 3 All-Stars, dude. We don't even have the 4 that Atlanta had. So we're just not as good as the Hawks.
Oh, the excuses have already been developed for when they lose in the first round.
No, not first round, second round. Second round.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we'll talk more like actual like other things going on in the NBA. Hunter mentioned the Indiana Pacers are on a absolute tear the last month. I think statistically, like wins wise, I think they've had the most successful January, or one of the most successful Januaries in the entire league. And then you got the Washington Wizards that are competing with potential. Yeah, what is it? They need 2 more wins to hold off from having the worst record of all time.
Woo! Huge.
Isn't it the Sixers, like the 14 or 15 Sixers that have that record, like 10 wins?
I think so.
All year,
I don't even
9 wins.
No, it's the Bobcats, right?
Well, no, the Bobcats have the worst winning percentage of all time for
Oh.
a season, but that was the lockout year.
Season.
But the Sixers had a year in the trust the process. I think it was like 10-72, the reverse Bulls.
The 1947 to 48 Steamrollers.
Woo!
They had 6, and they played.
The
They played 48 games. So,
Wow.
hey, the Wizards beat the record because
Nice.
the Wizards are at 48 total games as well, and they have 7. So,
Nice. That's huge.
I was right. The Sixers did the reverse 96 Bulls 10-72 in 2015-16.
That's so impressive.
A 12.2 win percentage.
Jeez.
hey, the Sixers have also won 9 games in 1972 and 73. So,
They hit
I
the
think that
reverse
would be
Warriors.
I think that would be the standard, since it's that would probably be the threshold I would put it at, just because they played 82 games actually. Good Lord, these are some bad teams. Hey, the Mavericks are on this list. They're going to be on this list again in a couple years. Oh my God, this is
What Dallas doesn't even have a lot of their own picks in the next few years, which is scary if you're a Mavs fan. A lot of their picks are going out to like
Dallas.
Nets.
They're gonna win now. They're gonna
Dallas.
I
win.
guess, yeah.
Doesn't
Nico
matter.
Harrison, you're smarter than me, I guess. I don't know. I wouldn't trade a 25-year-old MVP candidate in his prime.
Do you want to know who the real winner though is of this whole trade? Jerry Jones, for not being the dumbest man in the city of Dallas anymore.
Dallas, welcome to Brooklyn Nets territory. You are in for a you're in for it. That's all I'm going to say. Any final things that you want to say, Hunter? Are you wanting to save your wise words of wisdom for later this week?
No, we need a moment of silence after all this.
Oh, okay, one sec.
It was awful.
Moment of silence.
Moment of silence.
Okay. Well, we'll be back on Thursday to recap the trade deadline here on the Hardwood Convos podcast. But for Dawson Livingston, Hunter Rose, I'm Brock Bierman. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, whatever you can do to help support us. We appreciate it here on the 515 Podcast Network. Super Bowl week kicks off tomorrow. I think I guess today, because we'll be posting this on Monday. But we'll have a 515 podcast episode out with everything but the actual game itself. Form of Super Bowl content. For those that don't know and haven't listened to that type of episode in the past, we talked about literally every type of betting line that's not involved with the actual outcome of the game. So coin flip, that kind of has an out. So that the national anthem, Gatorade stuff,
First halftime song.
And then we'll have the sports nerds where we'll give out our actual predictions of the Super Bowl this year. I have a good feeling that I know where those scores are going to go. But then we'll be back, for another episode of the Hardwood Convos here on the 515 Podcast Network. So for, again, Hunter Rose and Dawson Livingston, I'm Brock Bierman. We are signing off for a couple days.